Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 9 of Going the Distance. I'm Nicholas Delgado, and I'm your host for everything to do with high school running in Central Illinois. Be sure to follow on Instagram and other socials at Going the Distance IL, and tune in every Wednesday for a new episode. Also, check out our new website at www.goingthedistance.co. We have a very special episode today, as it is conference week. But first, let's go over the weekly recap and some individual performances. Really, this week was kind of a down week for me. So locally, we had the Running Red invite where Morton won with 63 points over Glenbard South with 64 points. Individually, Caleb Mathias, the sophomore of Champaign Central, wins this race in 14:43.5 over Josh Weeks, the senior of Morton, in 14:55.6, and Tim Jokum, the senior of Glenbard South, in 14:56.9. That's really the only meet locally, and there's a couple other state ones, but not on Saturday. So that was the only one I felt that was worth covering. This meet had a lot of local teams in it, so congrats to everybody that raced. It was good conditions. I must note the course was 2.94 miles, so it is slightly short, but the course times do seem to translate well at Detweiler. So individually, weekly top times for the whole state. For 1A, Elijah Teefy, the sophomore of Pleasant Plains, runs a 15:26.5 at the Sangamo Conference Championship on Saturday. For 2A, Trey Sato, the senior from Gray's Lake Central, runs a 14:47 flat on Friday at the Lake Sunset Invite. And for 3A, Aiden Bendukwala, the senior from Hinsdale Central, sets the 3A top time in 14:51 flat and on 10:4 at the Naperville North Twilight Invite. None of these times take over a season top time for the whole state, but still very good times nonetheless. For my runner of the week this week, locally I chose Caleb Mathias, the sophomore at Champaign Central. 12-second victory at Running Red Invite put him there. He had a very strong performance, especially after the Peoria High Invite. With good conditions and competitions, this course, like I said, translates well to Detweiler, even though it is short. So I can see him doing, based on his Peoria High time, which was not under 15, I can see him definitely being under 15 come state, assuming good conditions. And then statewide, I chose Aiden Bandukwala, the senior from Hinsdale Central, because he won the Naperville Twilight meet in 14:51. That's a huge race to win. And it's a great time on a course that isn't Detweiler, so he seems to be coming into shape at the right time. And he has a very strong running pass. Like, he's in good shape to do very well through track and cross country. He has a history of running well at the state and postseason meets. So congratulations to both those guys. We'll see how it goes into postseason. So for conference quarter, well, before we get to conference quarter, let's look at our weekly outlook. Conference meets. So we'll learn more about that in a second, but this week it's really just conference week because the week before regionals, everybody's finishing up the regular seasons, and this is a big week for everybody. So for everybody vying for those conference titles, we'll get to see finally who can and cannot be beaten. So inside it for conference quarter, this week, I do have a very special interview with my Going the Distance group. One guy from almost every team in the conference. So we'll get to let's get to that interview now. Thank you guys for listening today. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Hello, everyone. I am back with the conference group. Today I have Josh Holloway from Pekin, Charlie Saran from Dunlap, Bryce Banning from Washington, Aiden Thompson from East Peoria, Ryan Craik from Metamora, and myself representing the Morton High School cross country team. Thank you everybody for joining me today. We're coming on for our annual conference episode to discuss just some outlooks over the postseason, how everybody thinks their season's been going as a team and individually. So this should be a fun episode. If you enjoy it, make sure to continue to check back in every Wednesday for a new episode, and go check out our somewhat new website at www.goingthedistance.co. It's up and running. There's a lot of stuff on there, so go check it out. But let's start off with just kind of a season recap so far. We can start with Josh in Pekin. How's your season been going individually and as a team?
So individually, the team, I've been doing decent, I would say. I thought I would be running a little faster by now, but I guess my improvement has kind of slowed up since last year, which was kind of expected, I guess. But yeah, it's going good, all right. I mean, we have conference, and then we have regionals and sectionals, so that'll be kind of exciting. And then our team has improved a lot from last year. We're still not like doing super good because we haven't raced our full varsity squad, I think, since our second race of the season. So that'll be kind of exciting, either at conference or regionals to finally get our, our fastest seven out to kind of see how we can do.
Awesome. Yeah. So you guys are kind of in an unfortunate situation being in 3A, but we'll get to that a little bit soon. Charlie, moving on to you in Dunlap. So your season like how have you been doing individually, and how's your team been doing just throughout the season?
Yeah, so we finally heated up. It was a little slow at the start, but we're getting there. So we have um, Jacob Gladstone right now is our top guy for just like PR wise, and he is 1549, I believe, and then I'm second at 1552, and we got Jack Nestor and Luke Williams getting ready to break 16 here, so they're right at around 1605. And then Max Draxler, who's our freshman, he's at around 1625 right now. So that's our top five, and we're looking pretty good. We've definitely started to heat up the past couple races, so we're just hoping to keep that going and hopefully get 4, if not 5, under 16. But I'm really happy with Jaggy's performance, especially. For those of you guys who don't know, Jaggy is Jack Nestor. But the past race, he dropped like probably 40 seconds, I think, and went 16:05 when he told me 16:50 felt really hard. So we were all really happy to see him there, and we definitely need that. So yeah, we're just hoping to keep that going forward and hopefully finish second or third in the conference, and I mean, as close to the top 10 in the state as possible.
Awesome. Bryce, how about you in Washington? How have you been feeling about your season individually and your team?
Yeah, totally. In terms of me and my performance, it hasn't been as good as I'd want it to be. I wanted to be faster and see lower numbers in those times. But honestly, if I've learned anything this season, it's just that running is not a linear. It's not a linear path. Like, it's just you might not see progress, and that's okay. That's just the way it is sometimes. That being said, team is looking very good. When we look back at statistics, this is like the best our team has ever been. We're looking, I think last time I looked, we were ranked 8th in the state for 2A. And with that being said, we want to get that even lower in terms of like a state. In terms of state, we'd want to get finish as low as possible. I think we've seen some great performances so far, and I think postseason those times are going to get it even faster.
Awesome. And then Aiden, I know at the beginning of the season, you and East Peoria are kind of a little worried about not having a full team, but you guys have shaped it around. You do have a full team. Kind of explain how your season's gone as a team and yourself individually, how you feel about how your performance is.
Yeah, for me individually, it hasn't quite gone how I've wanted it to, but I'm still optimistic with, the next couple of races we got. And then as a team, I mean, we had no expectations going in. We almost didn't have a team. They're all very young. So they've just been continually improving, which is really good to see.
Awesome. And then Ryan, so Matamora has had some issues recently. Enlighten us on that, and yourself, even with your injury, and how just kind of your performance this year. Talk about your team and your individual this season's rundowns. How you guys been doing?
Yeah, so kind of going into the season, we were expecting it to be a pretty good year, at least better than the last two where we didn't qualify for state. And we've had some pretty significant injury issues. Like Trey has just had like some continuous just leg issues, shin and knee, whatever. So he's out for the season at this point. And then we had another senior, Max Palacios. He ended up shaving off a lot of time at the beginning of the season, and he was projected to be like our number 3 or 4 guy. But he got a stress fracture about 2 weeks ago, so he's also out for the season. And then I'm kind of our last varsity guy that's on injury right now. I got diagnosed with patellar tendonitis last week. So it's something where I don't think it's going to fully knock me out for the season, but I don't know if I'll really run any faster than I have been or, be able to even run that fast. But I'm just kind of going to see where we work out from there. But in terms of the team, we've got, I would say, arguably the youngest team in the conference. Like right now, I'm the only non-freshman or sophomore that's still on our varsity top 7. I think we've got 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores. So over the next couple of years, I think Metamora is going to be something pretty special. We're going to kind of work our way back up to what we've seen in previous years.
Awesome. So now getting into Morton a little bit. Well, I guess first individually, I'm finally back. I've had 2 races so far. I got to run a Metamora last week. It was great. I chopped off 2 minutes and 43 seconds from my previous race before that. So that was fantastic. And we're going in the conference. I'm excited to see what I can do. But as a team, we've really shaped up the past few weeks. We beat Glenbard South by 1 point at the Metamora Run in Red invite this past week. And all our runners ran extremely well. Josh obviously staying on top. Jonas improving his times week by week. Christian getting close to him. Leighton in Boston finally up there as well. And then from our freshmen, we have Keyston Byer. He ran a 15:50. And then Max Carter, Noah Harris, Christian's brother. So we do have some younger potential coming up along with our seniors and juniors that are kind of the top right now on varsity. So we're excited to continue our path in the postseason and see what we can do. But moving on, let's talk about some goals. So obviously the season's coming close to a close. So let's talk about team goals. Josh, we can go back to you. What are some peak and team goals? Like I said earlier, you guys are in 3A. It's a little bit more difficult for you. What are you guys thinking about doing in postseason? How are you guys aiming to perform to those standards?
We regionals. We're actually in a different regional this year. So we have our regional this year is we don't have O'Fallon, which is nice, but we also have all 3 of the playing fields. We have the Oswego East, I think, and many other good teams. So that's definitely a little hard. But honestly, if our 3 and 4 runner, Braid Anderson and Chuck Wyman can keep dropping time, I think we should be able to get through 2 sectionals as a team. That's also if it really just depends on our 3 and 4 guy. If they kind of have to run like very low 17s or sub 17, or we won't even have a chance. That's kind of our goal, and then just make it a sectionals, and then we kind of were aiming for 3rd place in the conference, but Dunlap started showing up, so that's definitely not gonna work out probably. But also our team's not super healthy right now, so we kind of just got to see.
Awesome. Charlie, so talking about your guys' future, I know you talked a little bit about your state performance, but how do you guys see yourselves doing at conference? I know you guys kind of, based on what you said your times were earlier, kind of closer to a pack rather than a front runner and a couple guys behind. How are you guys going to use that to your advantage? What are your goals for sectionals and the postseason as we continue on this year?
Yeah, so the main goal is to, for like conference, regionals, and sectionals, obviously just kind of like tone that pack down. And we wanted to get as close as possible. So our 6th and 7th, Alex Colvin and Aaron Moore, well, I swapped them, but especially them, like they can get right on the edge of that pack. And just being able to pack is really important. So if we could get just all 7 of us within like 30 seconds, that could do a lot for us. Josh, please stop talking about my sister in the chat. Thank you. Other than that, just going forward, I think if we keep that pack, we could be looking really good, especially with a couple of our like newer guys to the sport, or at least to like high school cross country, like Aaron Moore and the freshmen. They're all having just really good seasons for their first high school season of cross. So it's really good to see them up there, and it kind of brings our pack closer together.
Awesome. So Bryce, a lot of curveballs in your guys' season this year, but for the best. Ben Gorsuch beating Sam Tellison at this past Run and Red invite kind of enlighten us on how that development has been going, and as well as just the bottom half of your team as you guys have been continuing to get better, even scaring us at like EP.
I'll take it, man. Ben, really, I'm trying to think of like how to phrase it. He's just really coming into his element these past months into the meet. I frankly, I didn't think he was going to perform as well as he did. I knew he was going to be an asset to the team, but not as much as he was. That being said, I'm very glad he's with us. I think the training that we're doing is just really working out for him, and he's just flourishing because of that. Going into conference, I think we're favored to do second with Morton finishing before us. That being said, I don't think we should. I still think we're a team to watch. I can almost guarantee that we'll have 5 guys under 16, and we want to do that at conference, and then from there, just like I said earlier, just keep dropping those times each meet in the postseason.
Awesome. And then Aiden, this might be a more individual question, obviously, since your team's pretty young. You guys not that much experience in postseason, but how do you guys see yourself doing, or yourself, I guess, personally, as we go on into the postseason, including conference?
Yeah, so for me, I'm just still trying to get the time down back to where it was last year. I haven't really been able to do that yet, so that's what I'm going to focus on these next few meets. And then even the other guys, they all had really good races at Metamora, so hopefully they can, continue that kind of momentum into conference and then into regionals.
Awesome. And then Ryan, you got Metamora. How are you guys feeling about postseason? I know you guys have kind of gone over this a little bit. It's looking a bit grim for you guys, but do you have any individuals that you think are going to try to qualify for state, or even is your team going to try to push through regionals? What's it looking like right now?
So I think realistically, with how a lot of the team performed at Run and Red, we had, I think, all of our varsity guys PR except me and Wilbert. Obviously, because my knee was hurting me and Wilbert was coming off sickness, so he probably shouldn't have even raced, but I think he's pretty much back to normal now. But Zach Bourne dropped about 30 seconds down to like 15:26, I think. So he should be a pretty surefire bet into state out of that Geneseo sectional. But, like I said, a lot of the guys performed pretty well. Some of the younger guys we have, like Gavin and Caleb, both dropped about 50 seconds. And then we had a few of our other freshmen go under 18 for the first time. So if they're able to keep making time drops like that over the next couple weeks, I think there's a chance that we could really fight for that 6th or 7th spot. But, I wouldn't put any money on it, but, I think there's the potential that we could surprise a lot of people, especially if I'm back and running decently by the time sectionals rolls around.
Cool. So Morton, I'll give a little insight here. Obviously, I talked about our past week's meet. We did pretty well. We're looking to obviously win conference, along with regionals and sectionals, and then even trophy or even win state. We got big expectations, and all our guys are working really hard to do it. We have a deep team this year, which is going to be extremely helpful because 2A is a very competitive class this year. And we'll get into more of that later. But I guess as we're going, a little side note from this whole conference thing. Ryan, you're going to be the best to answer this because you keep up with all the statistics. But middle school state this week, I kind of wanted to throw this in somewhere. Is there any insights from just Central Illinois that you can bring into the state the state finals week for IESA, and what's it looking like for some of the local teams or individuals here?
Okay, so off the top of my head, I just did all of the sectional qualifiers to state, but I think for the 1A boys, I think Morton Blessed Sacrament and Peoria St. Jude are both really solid. I think Luke Fady, or Fady, I don't know how you say it, from St. Jude. He's under 11 right now from what I remember. So he could probably fight for a state title there. 2A boys, I know El Paso Gridley is really solid. They've got 2 or 3 guys that are either under 11 or really close to breaking it. So I think they could maybe even win it as a team, and one of their guys could maybe pull off a win. 3A, I think the 2 area qualifiers were Dunlap and Dunlap Valley, so they kind of roll the area there. And I think both their teams are solid. I don't know how they rank in terms of the whole state, but the local middle school teams always usually perform pretty well. And then the Morton boys, obviously up in 4A, because the IESA has 4 classes now. The Morton boys are definitely one of the top teams in the state. Like Abe Martin and Isaiah Harder are just a crazy 1-2. And they're both either in the 1020s or 1030s. I don't quite remember. But, I mean, I think Abe's beaten Isaiah like every race this season, so he's more likely to win state of the 2. But I think either of those 2 could have a shot at it.
Awesome. So, I guess just kind of a couple final thoughts here. Our conference meet is supposed to be this Friday. However, as I haven't mentioned this yet, but the weather as of right now is looking pretty grim. So, how is everybody feeling about that? Let's just kind of go around. Josh, what is your team's strategy if it comes to racing in that like muddy slush that was kind of the state finals last year?
Yeah, so my coach actually, so I've been sick the past like week and a half. So my coach actually doesn't want me to race at conference. She wants me to wait till regionals. I want to race. So to answer your question, if I do end up racing, I'm probably just gonna it's gonna be more of a mental challenge than physical. I mean, it's at Detweiler, one of the fastest courses in the state. So like it's just gonna be mental, like a mental challenge. With the weather and stuff, especially if it rains like it's supposed to. And then team wise, we're just gonna go in and try and just run as fast as possible, of course, and see kind of how we end up. Kind of get a preview for regionals, because that's, again, we haven't ran our full varsity yet. So if we do, that would be kind of nice to have a preview before going into regionals.
So, okay, Ryan, Metamore is actually the team hosting sectionals. So, you have a little bit more of an insight here. I know you've mentioned to me before that if it gets too bad of conditions, we won't even run on Friday. We'll run on Monday. So, what's it looking like right now? What's the outlook of the actual meet? Are we looking more at a Friday or Monday? And I know it's still a little bit out, but just based on what you've been hearing from your coach.
So I would say probably. So I talked to Coach Young about it today, and she said basically, unless the forecast like drastically changes for Friday, chances are we're going to be running Monday, because the big problem with the weather is it's supposed to thunderstorm all day, which we can run in rain and stuff, but thunder and lightning is where the IHSA kind of draws the line with competing. And the other big problem there is if it rains too much and we tear up Detweiler too much, that could affect the state course in a couple weeks. I remember when I was in 8th grade, they outright canceled the Dunlap invite. I guess we were all in 8th grade, but they outright canceled the Dunlap invite because it rained and they didn't want to tear up the high school state course. So I would say probably count on conference being Monday. I would say it wouldn't be a bad idea to still, kind of run this week. Assuming that it would be Friday. Like, don't do a hard workout Thursday or anything, obviously, but I would say more likely than not, we're probably going to end up running Monday afternoon.
Awesome. So, and then I know we couldn't get any Canton guys on or Jack on tonight from Limestone, but I did want to give Limestone a little shout out. They got a full team. Canton sadly did not. But Limestone is shaping up the conference. Jack Manley actually is doing fairly well. He has PR 16:25 right now, and he hasn't actually run in a couple weeks. Ryan, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think he's run since the Dunlap invite. I don't think so. And that was
So
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't remember.
yeah, it's like 3 now. So yeah, there could be some individual performance there impacting the rest of the standings. But as we move on through, I'll just give a little conference corner rundown here on this part instead of in my other podcast segment because that's why we're here. So for the middle line, we're looking at Morton in the lead with 28 points according to the simulation. Washington behind with 50. Dunlap behind with 90. And then Pekin with 114, actually jumping over Metamora with 116. And then East Peoria ahead of Limestone, 188 to 192. So that's kind of what the simulations are looking at right now. But we'll all see. Anybody can be beaten on any given day. So conference race should be interesting. Everybody's got something to race for. PRs are on the line. This could be some people's last race of the season. So one final thing before we go, since we're all seniors here, Josh, do you know what you're doing after high school right now, or what are you looking to do? What are your current plans, even if they're not like finalized?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking at running college. I have a couple offers. I'm probably gonna wait to commit though until honestly probably throughout track season. Just because I am not performing as well as I thought I would be this during cross. So I kind of want to give myself some of the track season to drop my track times. But yeah, so my plan is to run for 2 years, hopefully D1, but also, there's a D3 school that I'm looking at that, might be a better choice. And I'm going to run for 2 years, and then I'm going to transfer to a 4-year and not run for the team or college, and I'm just going to have fun and get my degree at more of a party school. And then from there, just kind of continue to run marathons or, ultras or something. That's something I would definitely like to do after college, but not anything super competitive.
Cool. So Charlie, what do you see yourself doing next year? Do you have any plans or nothing really finalized yet? What's the plan for you?
So the plan for me is next year I'm gonna commit somewhere. I haven't made the decision yet, but I'm leaning towards UIS, which is a D2 school. They're pretty highly ranked. They are, they finished 6th in nationals last year, and I think they're 14th right now. They might have gone down or up. I'm not sure. But yeah, I visited them this past weekend actually, and I really liked it. So I'm gonna most likely go there, but I can't confirm it yet, just because I haven't signed or anything.
So Bryce, how about you? What are your after high school plans looking like right now?
I have to say it's a hard act to follow. But yeah, I'm looking to go to Bradley University, not run anything, but just go and get a degree in apparel construction and merchandising, and then hopefully just run in my free time. And yeah, that's all I can say for that.
Awesome. Aiden, what are your plans after high school? Do you plan to keep running, or what's the plan for you?
Yeah, I plan on, going somewhere to run. I'm not really sure where yet. I don't think UIS though. So we'll just see how that goes.
Awesome. And then Ryan, finally with you. I know you just came back from a college visit this past weekend. What's your plans?
Yeah, so I'm kind of between 2 different schools right now. Both are small private Christian schools in Indiana. But I'm looking to pursue a career in youth ministry, so really either of those schools would be a good fit for me. And Bethel University in particular, I've talked to their coach and met a lot of guys from the team, and it's a really good environment. So I'm going on a visit to the other one later this month. So kind of after that, I should be able to make a decision between the two. So, could have a commitment before the end of the year potentially, but if not, should definitely have one in the spring.
Awesome. Just one last thing. I wanted to say thank you to everybody for being on. You guys have been on since last year's cross-country meetup, so this was great. definitely check out the Going the Distance Instagram, because we will be getting a big picture on Friday or Monday, I guess, at our conference meet to get an updated picture on the website. But yeah, so thank you everybody for coming on once again. I appreciate it. We will have everybody back on for track season, don't you worry. But yeah, once again, thank you everybody for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast once again. Make sure to check back every Wednesday for a new episode. It was a pleasure having all these guys on. I appreciate it a lot. Lots of great info. And good luck to everybody in their conference meets this week, and I'll see you next week.